Kind C football class, we're here to light the fire. Spitting facts and stats, you know we never tire. Bringing the heat up, that passion won't retire. Busting through the mic, our voices never expire. We ignite the spirit, never fading out. Light the torch, USC fans rise up high. On this podcast, we aim for the sky. Knowledge and entertainment never lie. Together we stand, let the truth amplify.
What's going on, Trojan fans? Welcome back to another live episode of the Light the Torch podcast, and it's just me and Guns today. It's just going to be us. Hopefully, you're okay with that. B. Jones and Raul are not here, so you just got the two of us. But hey, that's all we need right now. It's okay. we don't need this person saying boo. I'm just kidding, B. Jones.
Right.
Shout outs to B. Jones doing his thing, keeping people smart with their firearms. So hopefully he's doing a good job. So there's no idiots with guns out there. But yeah, we got a light show going on today. So we'll try to keep some energy for this here. But it's definitely a light show. We just got some recruiting updates, and we're going to talk about 2020 college football 2026, and it's coming out next month. So we'll talk about that. If you guys have any questions in the chat, anything about USC football, regardless, we'll try to talk about it here. But all right, how's it going, Guns?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
All right, and
that's
right now. See, if I knew how to unblock you, I would block you right now, Jones. But yeah. All right, so I actually do have a poll that's up right now. Apparently, USC is a 7.5 win for the total for this 2026 season. So, is that too low? Yes or no? Go ahead and cast your vote in the poll, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Just talk about how dumb people think, or how little people think that USC will do this year, but. All right, guys, or Guns. Let's go ahead and talk about it here. But let's do the recruiting with Guns. So, give us what you got, Guns.
Yeah, but first off, just want to shout out all the Trojans that competed at the Rivals event in Indy. I saw, Deshaun Rideau out there doing his thing, Tom doing his thing. Tom was getting double teamed when it's a one-on-one, event. So yeah, they did their thing, and it was great to see that. We balled out and showed that we have some, elite kids, obviously. Madden, he just finished up his OV obviously over the weekend, and he confirmed that he will be playing the nickel spot safety for us. Something again that we have talked about in the past, but it's good to hear that is a confirmation from him. And Lynn wants him close to the line of scrimmage, and I think that really bodes well and it fits well for his style of play. 30 commits, and we're going to be fine getting the 5 last spots, from here to the end of December. Hopefully we get one more spot here in a couple weeks, July 4th or July 8th for one of the wide receivers. But we want to talk about 2027. So I kind of want to just mention and highlight some targets that we have. Again, we have 7 kids. Only have kind of narrowed that down to around 53. Now, given that 53, we're only going to be taking 15, maybe 20. I do think it's going to be closer to that 15, especially after kind of looking at some of the roster numbers. But let's talk about some of those names. So D lineman Zyron Forstall from Louisiana. We talked about Peyton Houston, right? Quarterback out of Louisiana. Running back Jackson Stokes out of California. Watch out for him. Quentin Hall, wide receiver out of California. Damari DeZern out of California. Watch out for him. Rosario Edwards, a tight end. Interior offensive lineman Lex Malangi, and I'm probably pronouncing that last name wrong, and I apologize. That is Tom's good friend, so I think we definitely are a sleeper there. Again, from California, KJ Green out of Georgia. He an edge. He actually was at the camp, and yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff. My internet is poopy right now. Elijah Herman out of California. Kasi Curry out of California. D lineman as well. Linebacker Caden Henderson. Safety Danny Lang. Another safety Khalil Terry. Another safety Miles Baker. And then Duve Williams is kind of the main targets that I'm looking at. Again, it's so loaded, and I think it's going to be very hard for those 15. And yes, we are only going to be taking 15, maybe 20 again around that range. I personally think it's going to be closer to that 15, but you never know. They could add on 5 more to make it 20 for that 27 class. It's going to be a light class compared to this 26 class. So, yes, it's going to be a lighter class. Exactly, 5 to 7 5-stars. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the Trojans that may flip out about next year's class, if it's not like a top 10 or top or whatever, it still could be a top 10, but it really all depends because we're going to be very selective with these recruits. So don't be surprised if we're not like number one class because other teams pick up a lot more recruits than we will at that point. But just know that this was the class that we really wanted to hit home with because this is the class that is going to, like, you guys have been saying it from last year when we were doing the 2025 class, that 2026 was going to be the class that we were going to dominate in. And look what we've done already. So I didn't believe it, but look at where we're at now. So we have a great legendary class coming in right now. And it's really great to see that Madden kind of confirmed that he's going to be playing that hybrid safety nickel role. And we're probably going to be going heavy for that position next year since we didn't really go too hard in this class. We were kind of banking on Jen Washington for that safety position, really, right? So, but you never know. We still have until signing day, like our fellow Oregon Ducks always say, that it's a long ways away from signing day. So, who knows? I was watching something with David. What's his name? David Pollock, and he was saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Oregon had 3 losses. Like they were saying that Oregon should watch out for Maryland. So, and we should have took that advice too when we were on that podcast last year. But yeah, if you guys haven't taken a look at that, I'm pretty sure it was on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, Pollock, and it's a long episode. It's about an hour. They just kind of go through each team one by one, like where do you see them going to be at. But it was a pretty good show. I think I actually screen recorded some of it, so I might post some clips of it. But yeah, I'm not gonna be too mad that we're not going to have the same type of class in 2027. If they've already set the expectation for it, so we can't be shocked with how it turns out.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it makes sense though, right? You're trying to get 35 this class. You get 15, 20 this next class. I mean, you average that out. That's normally 25, a class essentially, right? In a way. So yeah, I mean, it's makes perfect sense on why they're going to lower it this year. But again, it's we're going to be some highly talented kids. So excited to see who we get. It's going to suck, who we don't get because, we're going to have attachment maybe to somebody, right? And we just don't get them. But that's just the nature of recruiting in this 27 class. But going to go into your Oregon comment and David Pollock, he talked highly about us. He said, don't be surprised about us, basically. And to Oregon, I mean, and Jeff hit it right off the park, out of the park. Oregon has no proven talent at quarterback. I can easily see a 9-3 season from them, maybe even worse. Trojans or Ducks ask us, are the Trojans going to win 10 games. I sometimes want to ask them, are the Ducks going to win 10 games? Because, cool, you guys won 13 games last year, but like it's just I don't see it this year. This year seems different. So for them,
Yeah, it doesn't. And this is a USC show, so we won't spend too much time on the Ducks here. But like their schedule's kind of sneaky hard. They have Penn State, they have Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, which a lot of people think they might go into the mesh offense. Minnesota is always a tough team. We found that out the hard way. Then, of course, they have us November 22nd. And then Washington is their daddy, basically. They've always beat them, and it's in Washington. So that's a tough place to play. So they have Oklahoma State and Northwestern and Oregon State. They're lucky to have Oregon State early on. So, but yeah, their schedule is not something to scoff at. But
exactly. Yeah, I mean those road games, right? Washington, Iowa. Iowa's not an easy place to play at. Obviously, Penn State. Like I'd assume those games are probably close to prime time. Definitely that Penn State is, as we know, but.
And that one guy was with David Pollock said Rutgers could because they have a rough schedule. They have Penn State, they have Oregon State, they have Northwestern, they have Indiana, and they could be looking past Rutgers at Wisconsin. So who knows? But that's enough about Oregon and the fact that they are excited that they got a 3-star quarterback, even though they missed out on all the other great quarterbacks. Other than that, yeah, definitely take a look at that David Pollock one. They really like Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane was one of the guys picks to look out for. I think that was David Pollock, and then and who his co-host said no. David Pollock said Thanos, or I'm getting them two mixed up, but one of them says Thanos and one of them said Jacoby Lane. So it's good that they're acknowledging Jacoby. I was hoping one of them would say Makai Lemon, but it is what it is. We've already, I think Rivals said that Makai Lemon could be a first-round draft pick, I think. There was some kind of talks out there that Makai Lemon could be one of the top wide receivers coming out next season. So I'm glad that they're actually acknowledging Makai Lemon and everything. So, oh yeah, let's see, what else do we have to really kind of talk about guns?
I was just gonna add on. I mean, even PFF has talked highly about Makai. Yeah, so I think we have one of the top duos and wide receivers. And again, I know we talked about this in the past. I don't think we need Jaden Mayava to be the hero, right? Just play the game. Obviously, don't turn the ball over, and then run the ball. Let our defense do the work, and we can win games. So
I think this will all be decided based off how our offense or how our offensive line does. If our offensive line can open up holes for Wayman, B-Jack, and Eli, then I think we should be good. It's going to be dictated based off that. If we can get the running game going early on, and despite who we're playing against, like when we have Michigan, we need our O-line to be able to be on against like tough defensive lines like Michigan. If we can run with that, then I think we would be good. I ran into someone at the gym who played against Wayman in JUCO, and he said that he's the real deal. But he also did say that his JUCO school had one of the best offensive lines in all of the country. So we really need the line to basically complement what he did in JUCO. So, but he still said he was the real deal besides that.
Right, and that truly is one of my bigger question marks is if the O-line does what we think they're going to do, then I think Jaden's is going to improve as well, right? Like one of the issues was that when he got putting pressure on him, that's when he kind of became a bad cornerback, right? If we don't give him pressure, it can bode well in both parts. So,
but it also does. We have to take into account that he was injured. He was coming off an injury, and Lincoln Riley did even mention that in his one of his interviews that Jaden was coming off an injury, so he wasn't as mobile as he could have been and as he was when he was at UNLV. So we can definitely see a different type of Jaden now that he should be at full health. He should be able to run the Lincoln Riley's offense a lot easier at this point. So we'll definitely see how that goes, and hopefully his QB coach or his basically done wonders with him, and that he can start to dissect and read defenses a little bit better and not make kind of the type of decisions that we saw in that Notre Dame game. Because without those those bad decision making, then I think we would have won that game if we just didn't have those mistakes. But that David Pollock also said that he did like what he saw from Jaden. Besides the mistakes that he had in the Notre Dame game, he saw a lot of good things from him. So other people are noticing it, and we need our fans to kind of notice it as well, because they just see all the bad that happened in the Notre Dame game. But like Guns has been saying this whole time, he's 3-1. He's 3-1, and without that Notre Dame game, he beat a pretty good defense in Texas A&M. So we just got to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt that he was playing for the most part not 100%, and he just got thrust into the spot. Like, he's had a whole full off season now. We know we kind of hurt ourselves last time with Miller Moss, because we thought he was going to take us to the promised land, but he just wasn't the right person to run the scheme. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, and I'm sure he's going to do great at Louisville. It's just not the type of quarterback that Lincoln Riley needs to run his spread offense.
Absolutely, yeah, and he's definitely a gamer, like Jeff said. So I think that's one of the things I like about him. At the end of the day, man, he's gonna keep fighting and then try to put us in a position to win. So
yeah, he has a short memory. He doesn't kind of shy away from like the tough throws. He'll if he makes a bad throw, he's not going to be hesitant to throw another pass like that across the middle. He's still going to take his shots, which was kind of like Sam Darnold when he was at USC. Sam Darnold, he did make some mistakes, and he did make some throws that may have not have been advised by the better by if Lincoln Riley was his coach, but he still made some great throws and won us a lot of games, especially that Penn State game, because you should not be thrown across the middle with 3 or 4 defenders on Deontay Burnett, but he still made that type of throw. So he could be like the Sam Darnold version, the Sam Darnold for Lincoln Riley, because he's quiet like Sam. He's a kind of gunslinger mentality. So it should be good. I have faith in Jay. We just need the fan base to have faith.
Absolutely. Not to change subject, so I know college football 26 is coming out here in the next couple weeks, and so we're doing our team builder team like we did last year. We have some of our members on the team as a starter, and since Jeff is here, Jeff is one of our members. So Jeff, what position would you like to be? If it is a position that is taken up, I'll let you know and we can negotiate that. But yeah, what position would you like to be on our team builder for the 26 season? And then we can pick out your number after that.
So wait, what position are you playing? Are you playing quarterback?
So yeah, I will be the quarterback. So the quarterback, yeah. So I can kind of run down some of the positions that are taken. So quarterback is going to be taken. We have a running back that's taken. We already have 4 wide receivers. We do have a tight end. Okay, he says he doesn't really care, so we can work with that. Okay. So we'll run it down.
At least give us a number.
You think I can put the number in a position? It's just a name on the field. That's true. It's just a name on the field. You are right. Okay. I don't mean to ask this, but would you be okay with the left tackle position?
They do show stats for offensive line if you've given up a sack or something. So
Exactly. We will find out if you're giving up sacks there, Jeff. So 11, 17, or 50. How about 50? All right. Yeah. So all right. Perfect. Jeff,
So, yeah.
you are a left tackle, number 50. All right. There we go.
And he said he did play left tackle.
There we go. Even better.
So
Perfect.
All right. So you're protecting Guns' blind side.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and I appreciate that. You do have a center with you, Anthony James, who has been part of this chat. If you've seen him in the chat, so hopefully we can get 3 other players for you guys to fill out that offensive line. But we appreciate your service and your membership.
All right, and real quick, we still have the poll open right now. We have 12 votes for yes and 0 for no. So everyone thinks that we are that 7.5 wins is too low for USC. So I guess we can really kind of talk about that right now. Good. So is that what the betting odds are right now? Is that USC is a 7.5 favorite or 7.5?
Yes, 7.5. I'm going to confirm right now if it did change. I know the 7.5 over is the favorite in terms of odds. So the books do think we will hit it over essentially, but that's kind of where their line is at.
So let's see here. Just pulling up our schedule right now. We have Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue, and Michigan State. So Jeff did mention that that's a pretty easy 4-0 record right there, and I honestly don't deny that. That's pretty easy. Georgia Southern, we have to put up 70 on them. I want to shut out 70. I want Clay Helton to lose his smile, and So, and Missouri State, I think they. I don't know what they were like when they were in the FCS, but they're a freshly new FBS team. So we still keep that. We still keep that record of no FCS teams at this point. And then Purdue, and then Michigan State. Michigan State, they have a new quarterback, and they have a new head coach. Is he a new head coach, or was he a head coach last year for Michigan State?
He was the head coach last year, Jonathan Smith. So I mean, that's going to be an interesting game. Again, I do think we're going to win it. We're at home. But I kind of do think back to that Oregon State game. Again, it was on the road, though. Oregon State is kind of a tough place to play, pretty loud. But Jonathan Smith had a good game plan against our offense, right? So that's definitely going to be interesting to see.
So, and then Illinois is probably the team that could be the biggest, our first challenge. And that's away at Illinois, so I still think we get that win. I know they're a little bit more veteran and on the offensive side with their quarterback, but I still think we get that win. And then we come back with Michigan. Michigan, they're going to have 5 weeks of their quarterback. Is that, and we have a bye before them, right?
Right before, yep.
We have a bye before Michigan, and we have Michigan at home. So I think as long, like Bryce Underwood, he's still going to be raw at this point, I feel like, and then I think we have a good chance of sneaking, of getting that win, because I just feel like last year they were eking out a lot of wins that were kind of very close. They barely beat Minnesota, and just like we lost to Minnesota, they should have lost to Minnesota as well. So, and they have a early on challenge against Oklahoma the second game of the year against Oklahoma, and then they have Nebraska. So they could be easily 2-2 going into that, because they go to Oklahoma and they go to Nebraska, and then they have us right after that. So I think they could be a little beat up, because they're going to be on the road 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, so I just think that we have a good chance, and Nebraska's going to be a sneaky good team for them. So I think we have a good chance to be 5-0 early on. So what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, again, Jeff kind of brings up a good point, right? Really, Illinois game is going to determine our potential right there, right? If we win that game, everything does change. I do think, regardless, if we do, let's say we do lose the Illinois game, given the fact that we do have a bye, I still feel good about that Michigan game. You have a new quarterback coming in, a whole new defense, really, in terms of players, right? I just feel like we're going to be in a better place than compared to last year's game. So I feel really good about that Michigan game.
Yeah. So, and then right after that Michigan game, we have Notre Dame. Could be the last time that we play them. So we're going to want revenge. We're going to want to go out big. And right now, we don't really know who their quarterback is, do we? For Notre Dame?
I'm spacing on the name. I think it's something Carr. It's definitely one of the young kids that they recruited. I think he is going to be the quarterback.
Okay. Because right now they still have a really good running back from last year that kind of he didn't run all over us. He did have a touchdown on us, I think. But I think with the new size that we have on this offensive line, on this defensive line, we have a good chance to be able to stuff really any kind of run game, I feel like. And D'Anton is he's gonna be more comfortable with the type of players that he has, especially with the types of bodies. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a really good run defense this year.
I agree. I mean, I don't think we're giving up more than 150 rushing yards. If I see even close to that, I personally am going to be concerned. There was a few games out there that we've given up, close to 200 yards, right? Like going back to that Notre game last year, right? I do feel like, and I know we threw the 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, but we also gave up 200 rushing yards, right? You give up 50, 75 less rushing yards. Like that changes the game, right? You could have a whole different game plan, and we don't have to, throw bombs and hope for we get a touchdown, right? We could have used the clock maybe more, right? In those situations. So, yeah.
One thing that we have to be night and day better than last year is third down percentage. Third down, we gave up way too many big plays. We would get them 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, and they would pick up the first down. So we really have to be a lot better on third down conversion or third down defense for him. But let's see what the chat's really kind of talking about right now.
There's been honestly a few recruiting questions, but
yeah, there has been. So Manjeet talked about there has been talk. What if Griffin wants to come back? Would USC take him? I mean, why would we not want to take him? But I think because he mentioned that which one was it here? Griffin has a new agent who is the highest bidder. Was that before he? That was after he decommitted from us, or before he decommitted from us? He got the new agent.
It was actually before. So he did get the new agent before he officially decommitted. But that was essentially the main factor, was that the agent was letting the family know, hey, maybe we should look at all our options. So and obviously we were saying, hey, you're committed. We need you to shut it down. So. I don't think we are going to take him. I mean, if he somehow comes back and says, "Hey, yeah, I want to come back," I do think we're not going to give him the price that they're asking now. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
And let's see, Manjeet also said 2 games, Oregon and Delaware. I say we beat both. Yeah, definitely.
He did ask a question about the wide receivers early on too.
Where was that?
It's a little bit up. It says out of the 2 wide receivers, who would you take? Why not take both? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, about Bowie Feaster and Jalen Lott?
Yes.
I mean, I doubt we would take either one of them, both of them, or I doubt both of them would want to commit if one commits before the other. So, but I mean,
yeah, I don't see a situation where we take both again. Like you said, like Booby's committing in the 4th, Lott's committing in the 8th, right? So if Booby does commit to us on the 4th, I think you start hearing some stuff that we've moved on, right? If it's not Booby, then we're probably going to hear, hey, we're going all full court press on Jalen Lott. So I think it's just going to be one or the other. I personally, it's just my thoughts. Obviously, I'm not part of the staff. I would like Booby Feaster. I do think he has the higher ceiling. He was a 5-star kid in the 27 class before reclassifying. And again, there's no disrespect to Jalen Lott. Jalen Lott is a stud as well, right? He's an athlete. He plays both sides in high school. He's kind of like a Makai Lemon to me in a way. You know, obviously different size and build and whatnot, but like Makai, he played both sides. So I mean, he's just an overall dog. You know, he'll do whatever it takes. But I think Booby's got that higher ceiling. So
yeah. Jeff also said would likely be a 5-star in the 27 class, like what you just mentioned here. Illinois determines our potential. Yeah, we talked about that. Let's see. He says we get Illinois, we crush Michigan. I can see that. Yeah. We already talked about that. Michigan and Illinois are cupcakes. Don't sleep on Illinois. And don't sleep on Michigan either. They won the national championship 2 years ago. I know it was with a completely different offense and the defense, but it's still Michigan. They're still the most winningest team in all of college football. So you can't count them out. They're blue blood for a reason. And how is USC going to get an elite class in 27 if they only have 15 commits? And that's the situation. With Chad Bowden, this is what he's set the expectations for. And we can't go after every single player. NIL still is money driven by our donors at this point, and we just gotta go with what we can at this point. And I trust Chad Bowden with whatever he wants to do when it comes to the recruiting. We've trusted him this whole time, and it's paid out so far. So if saying 15 to 20 is what we're going to go with next year, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of teams that are at 15 to 20 this year, and they're still in the top 10 recruiting class. So
exactly,
it just depends on what players we get. And I'm sure we're still going to be competitive in the NIL era or in the NIL for next year. It's just we're just not going to go for a record-breaking 35 players.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's still going to be elite given the fact that pretty much all 15 kids could be all blue chip kids, right? Like all 4-star, 5-stars. Like, it's still early in terms of their ranking process. So, a lot of these kids that I mentioned early on, they're pretty much 4-stars. You know, a few 3-stars. They could easily rise up in the ranking to be a 5-star, 4-star. So, I mean, this class could be literally 100% all blue chip kids, which would be pretty wild. So, and it's all dependent, right? Like, it could be closer to that 20 if maybe we have some attrition that we just didn't expect, or we balled out and some kids are going to the draft, right? Like that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have, is having kids leave a little bit earlier to go to the draft. So, but yeah.
And some of the players. Go ahead. No, go
I was gonna say to Joe's question, he said, but you need to get at least 25 players a year. I agree what you're saying, but if you combine the 2 classes and then, you know, divide it by 2, that on average that's 25, right? We're gonna get 35 this year, 15 this next year. That's 50 total. Divided by 2, that's 25. So, I mean, in a way, they are getting 25 a year in a sense, like if you think about it that way.
Yeah. And the players that we're going after, Duvay Williams, 5-star, KJ Green. This is based off Rivals because we're going. On3 is going to be a Rivals a structure soon here. So KJ Green, he's a high 4-star recruit. Who else did you say that we're going after?
Yeah, like a Duvay Williams 4-star. I think he's going to be a 5-star at one point.
What
Miles Baker. Yeah, Miles Baker, Khalil Terry. So those are a 3-star and a 4-star. Danny Lang's a 4-star.
Yeah, Danny Lang. Yeah, he's a 4-star. Elijah Brown. Did you say we're going after Elijah Brown?
Elijah Harmon.
Oh, Elijah Harmon. Okay, Elijah Harmon.
Sorry. Yep,
he's a 4-star. Payne Houston could be a 5-star by next year.
Yep.
If you haven't checked out some of his highlights, and there's some recent throwing at, was that at the Elite 11 that he was throwing at, or where was he?
Yes, he was at that Rivals event in Indy, and he was dropping some dimes.
He was dropping some dimes. So yeah, it really all depends. It's too early to tell where these players are going to be at for the 2027 class, but they could still be a high 4-star. Like if they're in the top 150, I still think if a majority of these players are top 150 or even top 200, we could still have a top 10 class. I'm setting the expectation that it might not even be a number 1 class next year, based off the amount of players that we're going to get. You never know, but you just gotta trust the process. Trust that Chad Bowden is not going to steer us wrong, and I think Jeff said that a lot of the money is also going to be spent by retaining these players, because the transfer portal is a bitch. So we got to retain these players. And real quick, shout outs to Bobby Robinson here. Your chain will actually be going out tomorrow. I have it all set, so it will be going out to you tomorrow. So shout outs to Bobby Robinson for supporting the Blackie chains. So I really appreciate that. So I have it all ready. I just got to get out and go ahead and get it shipped, and you'll receive a tracking number here afterwards. So
and Bobby, we have set you as our third DB. I know you commented on our last show that you wanted to be a wide receiver DB. We had too many wide receivers, so we slot you at that DB. So we just wanted to give you an update there.
Yeah, and just like Joe Boyd, sometimes players just go elsewhere. And the thing about it is, for next year, we're gonna have a great season. I have a feeling we're gonna have a really great season, and players are gonna want to commit to USC. They saw what we did this year with NIL. They're gonna want a piece of that, so they're gonna try to commit. And who knows, we might get a lot of players really quick, and then once we get all the recruits that we need, we'll shut down our recruiting and just make sure that we continue to recruit these guys. So they're going to want to get in and get quick, because once we're done once we fill up, then we're not going to open it up to anyone else, I guess. We'll see how things turn out with this coming season.
Absolutely. And then real quick, Logan, if you're still in the chat, you are one of our members. So we are interested to see if you would like to become part of the team builder team that we're creating for the 26. If so, what position would you like? We can negotiate that. There could be some slots filled up. And what number?
Yeah.
So we'll give you some time, and yeah.
Is this true? Do you know anything about this, Guns, that Jet is a lifelong Oregon fan?
I have heard that as well. Yes, I have heard that he's yes, exactly, just a fanatic of Oregon. I mean, and you can't hate on it, right? A lot of these kids grew up watching the Oregon success. So, and obviously you got the glitz and the glamour, you got the jerseys, you got the whatever they were doing in the OV season. But yeah, kids like that nowadays. So,
well, yeah, they grew up watching when Oregon was actually the team to watch when it came to the Pac-12. They had the new fancy offense and all the jerseys and everything like that. And of course, Nike money was a big thing for them. So It's just they grew up in a different era, and they didn't see the Hollywood Trojans at this point. So it really all it's just how they grew up, and you can't fault them. But all we can do is really open their eyes to show that they're just like what Jeff Rodriguez, clits of shitty Oregon, Eugene, Oregon. But yeah, it is what it is, and if Jet wants to go there, fine. All we know is that we didn't. It's not for a lack of effort. We did try for him. We have a competitive NIL, so you can't blame him because we probably gave him every chance he could to go to USC. Because I'm sure NIL probably wasn't the issue with USC because we have the NIL for that.
Absolutely. And I know from what we've also heard, the mom was pushing for USC. So
yeah. He chose to go
let the kid take his own decision. So
yeah. So we all say, what has Oregon won? They really haven't won anything. The only thing that they won is a Big Ten championship. Great, cool. But where did that lead for them? So Joe, yeah, we hate Oregon too. See, you know what's kind of funny though? The hate for Oregon is really kind of new. Like really since NIL kind of was a thing. I've never really hated Oregon. But then when they started actually doing what they've been doing early on with NIL, they just kind of got this wild hair up their ass and thinking that they were actually good, they were worth something. But it's just for a brief moment that you guys were slightly better than us because we just couldn't get our heads out of our ass when it came to NIL, and we needed Chad Bowden to really wake us up on that. But it is what it is. Jump into the cold water and get hypothermia, you idiot, that kid coming into Texas. Yeah, he did. But hey, let's not talk about Oregon, guys. This is a USC podcast, so stop talking about them. We can clown on them, but we clown on them enough now. So now we got our chat talking about Oregon. Yes, he just said I hated Oregon, so that's past tense. But yeah, what else do we got going on? So, we didn't really finish talking about the over under. So at this point, we have a good chance of being 5-0 going into Michigan. Notre Dame is going to be a huge test for USC. So we have a rough 3-game stretch, but we do have bye weeks between the 3-game stretch. We have a bye week before Michigan, then we go straight to Notre Dame at Notre Dame, which sucks, and then we have a bye week, and then we go to Nebraska. Nebraska is going to be a sleeper team for me. It really all depends on how Nebraska starts, but I think they could be good, but it really all depends on where their defense is at because they have a new defensive coordinator, so. They played Michigan early on. They have Michigan State. They have Maryland and Minnesota. So they have us a little bit late in the season. So who knows where they're going to be at. But I think Nebraska's going to be a sneaky game that we have to be aware of. What do you think?
Nebraska, yeah, I think that is definitely one of the sneaky games out there. It's on the road. It's a tough place to play. They sell out. I think the great thing though is we have that bye before. I think that is going to help us out a lot. Get refreshed, get going, let the body recoup a little bit. And obviously, and then we can't sleep on, but we can't sleep on that one. So
you froze for a brief second there.
Thanks.
It's okay. And Logan says, surprised to see UCLA in the top 10 for recruiting. But are you seeing it on 247 or on 3? Because 247 has them at number 11, so which is still pretty high for.
They were at top 10. I saw them at 8 at one point, but that was like a few days ago. So,
well, I really don't think that's going to last long because I guess they've been doing some decent recruiting, but I still don't think they could be in the top 15 in recruiting, but I don't see them cracking the top 10 by the end of the season because there's still some pretty big fish out there that they're not going to be even come close to it. Yeah, UCLA is 17th right now on 3, so either that just really changed just recently because right now they're not even sniffing the top 15 right now with on 3, but 247 has them at 11. I just realized that they have 17. They have 17 3-stars. Holy crap, that's a lot of 3-stars. But they have 5 4-stars, but that doesn't come anywhere close to where we're at with one 5-star, 19 4-stars, and 10 3-stars. God dang, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give them some credit. Obviously they've been doing, I'd say, pretty good for themselves. Obviously not in comparison to us, but yeah, they're not gonna stay in the top 15.
You're cutting out again.
Top 10 there for long. I think their fans will be okay.
Yeah, but yeah, looking at their players, I mean, I don't know. I'm not seeing much to really care about. A lot of California kids, so they're locking down California just like we are, and it's just sad that Oregon can't even beat out UCLA for players in California, which is sad. But yeah, man, Jesus, why worry about UCLA? The only thing that's like UCLA, they have Nico, and Nico's a good quarterback. It's just where's the rest of the team at when it comes to skill positions for him to throw to? We don't really know much about them, really. I think they have a returning wide receiver, but that's it. So, and can their coach actually coach? Can Deshaun Foster actually coach? So
that's the big question. Yep.
Calix Rose says use the tight ends. We're going to have to use the tight ends because we definitely, I'm sure we promised Mark Bowman that we're going to use tight ends because if we can't use Mark Bowman properly, then I don't know what.
I personally do think we're going to use tight ends. I think we're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Even help. One thing to help the offensive line gel more, but just to use the tight ends, right? I do think we're going to see the 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. So we'll see.
It appears that Nike tears hurt Phil Knight, so the money is drying up for Uncle Phil. Either that or just some things that has happened like behind the scenes has kind of hurt their recruiting prowess because like in all honesty, I'm shocked how bad they're recruiting right now. Like I knew we were doing great, but I didn't think that they would fall off this hard, especially with the California kids, because they were loving Oregon for a while, but now they just forgot that they even exist, it feels like. I appreciate it, Anthony James. Get those Blackie chains order in. Yeah, we got some orders in. So, and Tora, if you're watching the show, I emailed you, and I'm still working on trying to ship out your order to London. It's just kind of a pain right now. So I'm just trying to figure out the logistics behind it. So it just let me know when you see my email, and we'll talk from there. But other than that, talking about the rest of the schedule, Northwestern, we have at home, easy win. I feel like Iowa could be a sneaky game because they do good defense. It's just where's their offense at? So, are you worried about Iowa at all, Guns?
Sorry, say again.
Are you worried about Iowa?
At home, no. No, I'm not really worried, but again, I'm not sleeping on any team this year. Like last year, I personally slept on a couple teams. So yeah, there's no team to slouch. We can't like create turnovers, right? I think that will hurt us in that game. If we create some issues and problems, then they can definitely sneak up on us. So we definitely exactly will be the redemption game for the Keaton Slovis injury. So
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I just kind of removed that part of my brain for that. But Iowa, I'm treating that as like the Wisconsin game last year. Uh, Wisconsin was a tough game, and it really all came down to their quarterback, and their quarterback wasn't good enough to beat USC. And I think that's how Iowa's going to be. Is they just need like their quarterback situation is like what USC's defense used to be for Lincoln Riley. Like Alex Grinch wasn't this like we had no defense with Alex Grinch, and they have no offense when it comes to their quarterback. So if they can get a quarterback down, then they'd be a scary team because they have a good defense. They scored over 40 points twice last year, which is kind of unheard of for Iowa. So that's kind of something to be to look at. But I think they were against really like poor teams. So then we have the November 22nd game. Everyone mark that game on your calendar. That's the Oregon game, USC at Oregon. I think that's going to be – actually, do you think that's the hardest game that we have this year? Is Oregon or Notre Dame?
I'd say Notre Dame. I say Notre Dame. I had to think about it just for a second because Notre Dame is bringing that new quarterback. But again, they were in the national championship last year. Like they still have a good squad. So, and I do think Oregon is not going to win 10 games. I think we're going to see a 9-3, 8.
Sorry, you cut out just a little bit, guys. I'm sure you come back here.
Yeah, sorry guys, but I'm trying my best. But yeah, I don't think they win more than 10 games.
Yeah,
I think less.
I don't think so either. They almost lost to Ohio State, which they did end up losing to in the playoffs. They should have lost to Boise State. They should have lost to Idaho, which is kind of surprising that they almost lost to Idaho. And then Wisconsin easily should have won that game. Wisconsin should have won that game.
Yeah.
And then Penn State, they should have. I mean, when they played in the Big Ten championship game, Penn State could have won that game as well. So there was a lot of games that they were squeaking past. So I do think that since they have a new quarterback, Dante Moore, we all know how he played, at least last year or the year. Yeah, last year he didn't have the greatest season, and this is where they're going to see if Dan Lannon and his team can actually coach quarterbacks, because they've always had quarterbacks that had like 3 seasons of starting with Dylan Gabriel, Bo Nix. All of them had starting time, but Dante Moore has had 6 starts before he was shut down or something like that. I can't recall. And those starts weren't great. They were not great. Granted, it was the Chip Kelly offense, and Chip Kelly probably was pretty checked out throughout that whole season with them. So, and it was UCLA. So, either way, you can't really expect much from a UCLA offense. So, who knows? We'll see if Oregon can actually develop a player, at least an offensive player, because we haven't been able to see that. But let's see what else we got questions here. So, Derek DeMarco, question: any info from the PRPs, the player run practices?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to think with that. I haven't heard much. So I mean, I don't have really much to say. I think they're going well from my feelings, but we haven't heard much. So.
Yeah. We'll definitely, like, I haven't seen too much videos when it came, because On3, or I mean, We RSC or 247's USC has not really posted too much about it, so hopefully we can get some updates about that a little bit later. Maybe next week we can talk about that. And then Anthony James says, I would like to see Carson Palmer for the Michigan game. That would be great. I would love to see a lot of players come back for these games, like have Mark Sanchez come back. I think he actually ran this out maybe last year, possibly. I can't remember. Caleb Williams has yet to have his retirement, has he? Or did he have his retirement?
He did.
He did.
But
he didn't run us out, though, did he?
He did, I believe. I believe he did as well.
Wow.
I believe he did as well.
All right. Well, what else here? No one knows what Oregon does. They don't have as much talent this year. Yep. And they lost one of their starting receivers, Evan Stewart. So Michigan is a cupcake. SC won that game except the one big run. Orgy, you kidding me? Let's see. Trips me out that they started Dante over Garbers. Yep. Look at what happened to Gabriel. Yeah. Let's see what else. USC should beat every team on this. We have the ability to beat every team on the schedule. We really do. It's just we got to really kind of put it all together. And I feel like Danton Lynn has the ability to really kind of shut down every offense that we're going to be playing. There's not really a high-power offense that we're going to be playing next year, except for maybe Illinois, Oregon, I guess if you want to consider them a high-power offense. Let's see what else here. Does Tremaine do anything with them, or is it purely player run? He does, right?
From my understanding and from what we've seen some clips, he's been doing some things with them, even not related to like real practice. They've been doing like
workouts,
velocity training or something like that, like high, get up the weight like real quick and try to, and they're doing rankings and stuff like that, which is pretty cool to see.
And what was the thing that they were doing outside of the Coliseum?
Yeah, they were doing the stairs outside of the Coliseum.
Stairs.
The stairs, and then also saw that at one point they were doing some like scheme drills. They had like a I can't think of the word, but basically they were like in their set schemes or spots for the defense, and then kind of working out like that way. So yeah, he's definitely helping out in some way.
Yeah, I think he's really adding tough. Like, I'm not saying Benny Wiley didn't have toughness. He definitely did a great job with what he had when it came to this team. And when we asked him to add weight to these players, he definitely did a good job with it. But I also think that through training, we need to get more aggressiveness. We need to be more physical. And I think Coach True will be able to instill that into these players based off what he's done at Kansas State. Same with his assistant as well. So Menchie says, look at the Penn State game last year. Alar converted. I think that's 2 4th downs on the drive to tie the game, and one of those Kamari should have picked him off. Yeah, I think our defense was just kind of tired towards the end, and we didn't have the bodies and we didn't have the depth behind the defensive line to kind of really kind of put that game away. And also that their tight end was just a complete beast. There's a reason why he was a first-round draft pick out of Penn State. So I'm not sure if they have that type of player this year. Granted, we don't even play them this year, so we don't have to really worry about that. The only thing that we really need to worry about is Notre Dame's tight end. I think he's going to be good. Same with Oregon's tight end. Oregon has a really good tight end. I'll give them that. They have a really good tight end. But let's see here.
Absolutely.
True did turn scrubs into good players. You don't got to call out Kansas State like that. But Walter, shout out to Walter. Illinois does not have a high power offense. They've won a lot more one-score games. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. So let me see what their schedule was like last year. Or he's saying that about Illinois. No, Illinois team. But dude blocked for his own catch. What was that? Was that from the Penn State game?
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Illinois did barely beat Northwestern. They won by 10 points. They barely beat Rutgers, but granted, we barely beat Rutgers too. They barely beat, or they lost to Minnesota, and then they got destroyed by Oregon, and they beat Michigan, which should have beat Michigan.
No.
They put up 50 against Purdue, but it's Purdue. But Purdue put up 49 against them, so I'm not sure if that says much. And they won in overtime for that one. So, and, look at Ken. Ken decides to show up, even though he say that he was going to ask us some questions. I'm just messing with you, Ken. But shout outs to Ken. Let's see. Neither did Indiana. Neither did Illinois played no one last year. Okay, Indiana was kind of exposed when they got to the playoffs against Notre Dame. So I'll give you that one. So, but we don't play Indiana this year, so we don't have to really worry about that. And they lost their offensive coordinator to UCLA, so that's another situation that they have to deal with. But is there anything else that you want to talk about here, Guns? We're at the top of the hour here. I'm surprised we were able to push this out to an hour.
Yeah, so. I thought we did really good. Again, apologies for my connection over here, but what's the poll looking like? That's really the only last thing I had.
The poll right now, if you haven't voted, wow. So it's 21 votes. 95% say yes, and there's one that says no. So show yourself who says no. Are you an Oregon fan or what? 7.5 wins is too. You don't think it's too low for USC? That's insane. But granted, they kind of proved us wrong last year. So
Ken is the no. Can I be serious?
Ken. Wow, Ken. Yeah, classic Ken.
Okay.
I wonder if Ken was too short to see the yes that was up there. Maybe he didn't see the yes. Sorry, Ken. I had to take my bad. I know Ken's going to say something to me in the Discord, so it is what Ken says, hey, I got a question. Haha. What opponent do you think is being too overlooked or maybe a trap game?
I'll go first. I really do think it's that Nebraska game. I feel like some of us are overlooking that, and that can be a trap game on the road. So, looking out for that one.
Nebraska, for me, is also a trap game. It's on the road. Nebraska is a tough place to play. They always sell out, regardless if it's really a sold-out crowd. Even if it's not like a fully sold-out crowd, they always show up because there's nothing to do in Nebraska. So they're going to be loud because that's the only thing that they get to do in Nebraska. So I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't nervous about Nebraska. So thanks for the good question, Ken. A little late, but it's okay. Let's see. Manji says, no need to hype Illinois. Luke Altmaier, who? It's all about the Dubs and Domers. Let's split that. We're 11-1. I like your confidence, Manji. I like it. These shows need to be longer. Jeff, these need to be longer. Okay, well, we can definitely try to make it longer if we need to. Trap game is if Riley doesn't leave early, he can't show up night before and just go there and play. Yes, they need to change their travel schedules. Their travel schedule was horrible.
I agree.
That was just like the Minnesota game. I think they showed up the day before, or I don't know. They need to show up 2 days before to get used to the time change, especially going to Illinois. I think Illinois is not Eastern Standard Time. It's still Central Standard Time. But at least if I'm wrong, let me know. But we just definitely need our kids to acclimate to the time difference in that. So we can't be doing this this last minute traveling for it. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and maybe this is maybe still late, but I feel like the day before the game, like they need to be there 24 hours Saturday. So they need, every Friday they need to be at least in that city for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that means you should be leaving like maybe Thursday afternoon, flying in, get there at night, and then be there basically 48 hours, right? Essentially, right? That Friday, Saturday. So yeah.
So Cannon said, yes, so yeah, I said no. I love the talent upgrades, but until I see Lincoln prove he's overcome his deficiencies, I err on the side of caution with wins. Ken
did say he's looking at an 8-4 season, so I mean that does hit the over. So, but I get where he's coming from now. So.
Yeah, and Jeff agrees with you. He's like Anthony says, I ain't split no don'ts with anyone. Yeah, like see. Okay, if you had to choose, I think I already know the answer to this, and I think this is a dumb question to be asking here, but who would you rather lose to? Oregon or Notre Dame? If you had to lose, not saying we're going to lose, let me preface this, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but if you had to split those games, which one would you lose?
That's a really tough question. I wish we knew that the season with Notre Dame was continuing, because we really don't know if that is going to continue. I'm gonna say Notre Dame though. I do not want to lose to Oregon. I really hate those guys. I hate the fans.
I wish your internet was better right now, because you were just completely muted for that one. We didn't hear anything that you just said.
Yeah, Notre Dame would be the school. So
yeah, see, okay, Notre Dame is our rival, and our rivals, we lose to our rivals. It's fine. We've been playing them forever, but it also sucks that, like what you're saying, this could be our last game against them, and I don't want to lose against them. But Oregon, they're like, Notre Dame's a blue blood program, so it's fine. And I'm sure we'll pick up the rivalry sometime in the future or whatever, if they decide that they really can't afford to lose out on this type of game. But Oregon, I cannot stand them. Like, I'm fine going back and forth with Notre Dame. We know we hate them. But Oregon has no reason for any kind of hate, because they haven't done anything. They are a paper champion. That's all they are. They just think that just because they went 13-0, they are a national championship winning team. No, it does not mean that. And I need you guys to be humble. At least Notre Dame was in the college football national championship game. Like, Oregon just and if Raul was here, Ken, I'm sure he would curse you out at this point. But I just can't. I don't want to lose to Oregon anymore. And this has to be the year that we assert our dominance over them. We stand over them. We fucking assert dominance and let them know that they are no longer the top team in the West. So Andy is the loss. So Bobby Robinson, he says Notre Dame is the loss. Yeah, and Notre Dame will be a quality loss. Oregon, and it's going to be interesting because, like, if they're undefeated by the time we play them, I would easily love to beat them. But I don't think they're going to be undefeated. So let's see. Jeff says, how about we beat Oregon and Notre Dame and lose to Nebraska? I'd be okay with that. Like, a trap game is a trap game. That's why they're called trap games, because it's something that you can really kind of just look past. And I don't know why Ken is cursing in the chat, so have fun cursing.
I think he wanted to say fucking run the ball, probably, or something like that, maybe.
Why are you cursing, guys? Why are you cursing? If Jeff says Riley better run the ball. Yes, he better run the ball. Ken, why are you crashing out in our chat? See you later, Anthony James. Really appreciate you showing up here. I think we might be getting out of here too, because we've strung this out long enough here. The 2-man crew was able to squeeze out an hour and 10-minute show. So really appreciate the 38 people that are in the chat. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Become a member. Become the right tackle, the right guard, the left guard. We need all those. We need even defensive tackles. Like, do we have any defensive tackles? Yeah, so we don't have any defensive tackles. So definitely.
We have no defensive backer to play with BC, so there's some spots open.
I'm not a defensive tackle. I'm a hybrid, okay? I'm an edge and a linebacker. I am going to be I'm going to be the best linebacker out there. So it's okay. So yeah, we really appreciate everyone that showed up to this kind of hodgepodge of a podcast today. We really appreciate everyone. Go ahead, do all that good stuff. Maybe even put in an order for one of my chains. I'm pretty low on my stock right now, but I'm making some more as we speak right now. So go ahead and get your orders in if you can. Follow me on Twitter, saying follow Guns on Twitter. But yeah, if you want chains, follow me on Twitter. My chains are in my bio, so if you guys ever want them, just let me know. And yeah, until next time, guys, keep the torch burning bright. And as always, fight on.
Fight on.